NT7000 fingerprint time clock training, presented to you by the hardware support and implementation team with our contact information listed below. Let's begin. On the agenda today, we're going to cover preparation and an overview on the time clock, also covering how to activate the UPS switch or backup battery, how to access the time clock's admin console, and enrolling ourselves as a clock administrator as well as an employee. On the preparation side, we want to make sure the clock is plugged to surge protector. Should there ever be any kind of power surge or power outage, the clock will be protected by it and will not receive any damage from that. Confirm that the clock is connected to the internet via DHCP, static IP, PoE, or power over Ethernet, or a Wi-Fi or wireless connection. See page 5-F to confirm the connection setting details. Also make sure that the clock's Ethernet and or power cords are placed correctly in their respective inputs and not loose or damaged. Confirm that the 7000 UPS switch is activated, which we will cover on the next slide. How to activate the UPS switch. Using the key given to you during shipment with the time clock, go ahead and open the time clock and locate the UPS switch, which will be above the Ethernet input on the front interior of the clock. The switch is normally in the off position due to when the clock is shipped. We don't leave it on because the clock will remain on, and during shipping it will drain the battery and the clock will not be able to turn on properly. When activating the UPS switch or turning into the on position, the clock will then have the backup battery activated, and if there were ever a power outage, the clock will remain on for a few hours. Okay, so an overview of the interface of the time clock, or the face of the time clock, the touch screen. On the top right is a language icon. During your implementation with your activation consultant, they will ask if you need to activate any languages on the time clock and any additional or a second language and so on and so forth. Once communicated with the system, the clock will download that setting, and going forward you would have the options for additional languages. On the bottom left-hand corner is the admin console icon, which we will go into for configuring any network settings, any settings on the clock itself, as well as enrolling ourselves in the clock for the first time. The upload or the punch count lets you know how many punches are sitting on the clock. If there's a number higher than 0, they're just either waiting for it to push on its own, waiting for the next employee to punch, which will force the upload, or if there's any internet connectivity issues, the punches will sit on there until the internet connectivity is confirmed and working fluidly. Then the clock will automatically push into the system. If there are any upload or downloads, the upload and download status icon will be white, and you can tap on it to force the downloads, or they'll do it automatically. If it's gray, then that means there's no settings to upload or any settings to download to and from the timekeeping system to the time clock. The key icon allows us to know that the clock is communicating with the website. If there is any communication issues, the key icon would be grayed out. Now, the internet connection icon, if white, it means that we have internet connection. If grayed out with the red X, it means that we do not have internet connection. Now, the internet connection icon could be on and white and working properly, but the key could be grayed out. So that just means that there's a setting we need to change. Or if the internet connection icon is gray with the red X, then the key will also be grayed out. Okay. On this slide, I'm going to cover how to access the admin console and where we will go to enroll. And shortly, using an on-screen program to remote into my time clock, I will show how to do that on screen. We're going to double tap on the admin console icon on the bottom left-hand corner of the main screen, input the password listed here, 9999, tap on the OK button, and we're redirected to the admin console. Here we'll scroll down to Biometrics settings, tap on the button, and it'll bring a drop-down menu with another button that lists biometric settings, and from there we'll reach the enrollment screen. So I'm going to shift to another screen and bring on my on-screen program. I'm going to double tap on the admin console icon, enter the password as listed in the presentation slide, tap on OK. And now I've been directed to the admin console. Here I'm going to scroll down to biometric settings, and tap on the Biometrics Settings button. And now I've been directed to the enrollment page or the admin page. Here I can enroll my employees, admins, or supervisors. I can verify their enrollments. I can see who's enrolled as an administrator or as a supervisor and return to the admin console or the main screen. So for this example, we're going to go ahead and enroll my number 1 employee. His badge number is 1, employee Bender. I'm going to use my left index finger for enrollment. I'm going to place it down on the reader. It's going to take my scan, ask me to remove my finger, replace it on the reader. It wants to take 3 successful scans. It will give me a thumbs up. And now it's asking me security information. The clock wants to know if I'm going to be an administrator or an employee or supervisor on the clock. So I'm going to choose number 2 for administrator. The security level should always be the number 3 regardless of authority level. My finger index number, I know I used the number 3 and I'll cover that in the presentation, which finger numbers are assigned to which finger. And yes, I want to enroll a second finger by choosing number 1. And now it's asking me to place another finger on the reader. I want to use a finger on my opposite hand, but for this example, I'm going to use my left middle finger. After 3 successful scans, it asks me the security information for this finger, but only the security level and the finger number. So my security level is always the number 3, and the finger number for my middle left finger is the number 2. And now it's saving my enrollment. Now I want to go ahead and verify that my enrollment was saved, so I'll tap on Verify. I'll enter my ID or badge number or card number, which is the number 1. It lists my name and the finger index numbers that were enrolled, so I'm going to go ahead and place either of those fingers to confirm, and I'm verified that my finger scan matched. Now I'm going to go ahead and return to the main screen on the time clock, and I'm going to go back to the presentation and cover in detail what we went over using the time clock. Okay, again, we accessed the admin console, used the password, went to the Biometrics settings. Here on the admin page, we tapped on the enroll button, enroll myself under my card number, which was the number 1 as employee Bender. We placed my finger on the reader and received 3 successful scans, and we're directed to the next page, which asked me security information for the fingerprint. First, it asked me authority level. Since I'm an administrator, it's going to always be the number 2. I then entered my security level, which should always be the number 3. If it is any number higher, then that means every time I need to punch or access the clock using my fingerprint, I need to place my finger at the exact same angle, pressure, and distance on the time clock, or it will reject me every time. So we highly advise always enrolling at the number 3. Finger index number, or the finger numbers assigned to each other, are listed here from left pinky as 0 to right pinky as 9. And we verified, we did enroll a second finger, use the same security level information again, confirmed the finger number, and verified following that. Now, when enrolling your staff, the best method is to have this diagram handy, probably printed next to the time clock, so that you're not doing any guesswork. When you need to enroll your next staff, please note that administrators can enroll anybody at any access on the clock, whether it be an administrator, another administrator, a supervisor, or any employees. But supervisor access can only enroll employees because the clock knows that supervisors only have access to enroll employees. So what it does is it skips the authority level and goes straight to the security level. So keep that in mind. Employees can't enroll anybody. They don't have access to be here unless you give that to them, which we highly advise, please don't. Now, one best suggestion is when enrolling your employees at the time clock or your staff at the time clock, do not have them do any manual entry with the digits, because an employee coming up to the time clock, if you tell them press this number, they may get confused, intimidated, or they may just mess around and press the wrong thing, or by accident they accidentally made the security level 5, put the wrong finger numbers, and now they can't access the clock and they don't know which finger numbers they used, and you'll have to re-enroll them. Another best suggestion is to create somewhat of like a rubric on finger numbers and all the information. For instance, if I'm enrolling my employees, I know it's 0. If I'm an administrator, I'll have to do that. But if I have a supervisor doing it, it'll skip that. Their security level should be the number 3. If I'm having them use, let's just say index fingers, and I'm using the right index finger first. Number 6. Second finger, 1. So this kind of grade or rubric or cheat sheet I created simply means that I'm enrolling employees as, I'm an administrator enrolling employees. Their authority is always 0. Their security for the first finger is 3. Their finger number for right index is 6. Enroll in the second finger, yes. On the second finger, 3 for security, 3 for that left index. So the best suggestion is to appropriate the method however you choose. If this is easier, by all means, create a little rubric or cheat sheet and enroll that way. And then if there's any fingers that are not working, let's just say for whatever reason it's not reading that fingerprint, but it'll read another one like the pinky, just have that finger diagram also printed so that you're not doing any guesswork. And if this works, by all means, I suggest that method. If not, if you want to go by the diagram and this procedure listed in our training today, you can print the document and follow step by step, and that's always a method. Enroll and choose what's best for you when enrolling your staff. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and enroll another one of my employees at the employee level. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the clock screen back on, and we're going to go ahead and enroll another employee. Note that based upon if you want to choose a method to keep going in through to the admin console from the icon here, you have the method to do so. If not, there's a shortcut feature, which is the supervisor admin button. I can tap on that now that I'm enrolled as a supervisor or an admin. I press the number 1, which is what I was enrolled at. When I press enter, it asks me to place my finger, and I'm redirected to the admin screen to enroll. However, my clock is set to go straight to that, so I apologize that it did not ask me to do so. I have it at the wrong setting, so I can enroll from here. So let's go ahead and enroll another employee as an employee level. So my second employee, Mr. Phillip, will go ahead and enroll the same way I did as Bender. Place a finger, lift the finger, place the finger, lift the finger. 3 successful scans. I'm entering the same security information, except the authority is 0 for employees, so I know either using my cheat sheet I created or following the guide, 0 for authority, 3 for finger security, 3 for this finger number, and 1 for enrolling a second finger. Repeat the process with a different finger. Place it, remove it, or lift it above the reader. Place it, lift it above the reader. Place it back down again. Get the thumbs up. Security level at the number 3, and this number is the number 2. Now I'm going to also verify that this employee was enrolled. So I enter his ID number, have Philip place his finger, confirm so by placing the finger, and finger scan matched. So I'm going to go ahead and return to the main screen. And now I'm going to have, since I enrolled Philip as a employee level, I'm going to have him try accessing the supervisor admin button. If he tries at his employee level, he's unable to do so. It won't allow him to because he was not enrolled as a supervisor or an admin. So please note that if you input the wrong authority level and security level information, you won't have access to do so. So With that said, we enrolled our employees, and at the admin level and the employee level, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the presentation and just cover again in slight detail what we covered in that enrollment. I chose to enroll an employee after using the shortcut. Had him place his finger, raise it, place it, raise it. Entered the security information. As his authority level is 0 this time, used the same finger numbers as in the previous enrollment, and verified his enrollment using either the diagram or the cheat sheet I created for added benefit. With that said, that concludes our training today, covering how to navigate your time clock and activating your UPS switch, confirming you have internet connection, enrolling yourself as an admin, and also enrolling an employee. With that said, thank you for joining me today. If you do have any questions or concerns, please do feel free to reach out to our hardware support or implementation team at the phone number listed below or at the email listed below. Have a wonderful day.